Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castlekeeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am going to be taking my first in-depth look at Castle Xagyg, particularly the Yggsburgh campaign setting. This is going to be episode 1 in a probably long series of videos covering this campaign setting. So really excited to do this. You're probably aware if you've been watching my channel for quite some time that I'm a big fan of Troll Lord games. Really happy to see that this has come back out. It is essentially the reprinting and reauthorization for Troll Lord Games to gain access to printing some of Gary Gygax's works. These are all works that were post his TSR years, but still connected to Greyhawk, his world setting, and although they can't use that term anymore, but he never lost the rights to Castle Xagyg, and never lost the rights to his world building and his world setting that was never published before. And so that is now becoming available to us once again through Troll Lord Games and through an exclusive licensing that they are now allowed to, through the Gygax estate, to reprint these and repackage them, and obviously bring them forward as far as formatting and such concerned. They have been cleaned up of any of the connections to the TSR product lines and such, and so this here, just to give you an idea, this is published under the Open Gaming license as opposed to the OGL 1.1, so that's really important to remember as well. So that's the first thing. I'm a big fan of Troll Lord Games, and it's really happy to see that Gary Gygax's legacy as a world builder has been brought to a company that truly respects what Gary Gygax was as a creator, what he was capable of doing as a creator. And I think that, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and put my own personal opinion on it, that, I think Gary Gygax was a much better world builder and storyteller through his settings than he was necessarily an author of game mechanics. So and I know that might strike some people as kind of crazy, since of me to say that, since AD&D First Edition is my favorite version of Dungeons and Dragons. But I think that Gary's true calling was in writing settings and writing the histories and the lore, and really creating cohesive settings. And I personally think that Greyhawk and now this here is probably the best example of a world setting for Dungeons and Dragons that's out there. So I mean, no slight to be given to Ed Greenwood, but I've always been much more of a fan of Greyhawk than I was of Forgotten Realms. And so, without further ado, let's start taking a look at Yggsburgh, the campaign setting, And I'm not going to go into, I'm going to break this up over several videos. So I am just going to do this as an intro, and let's start covering it. So I will make this a little bit larger so that you can see it. And as you can see, it is by Gary Gygax. So no other authors, directly to this. So this is all, his thing. So now, obviously, he's going to have some people that came in for the cover art and the cartography and editing purposes. So that you see here as well. So the cover design and layout, interior art, logos, and logo designs are by Peter Bradley and Davis Chenault. So this is the Trollord Games individuals that have come in and, of course, modified this for use under the Creative Commons and not the OGL. So that's where Trollord Games really came into this point. And again, this is a reprint of when this was first released under Trollord Games, and so again, it's been updated. So let's put it that way. So here you can see, and I'm going to go over this table of contents with you to see just the major parts of this, and so I am going to do several videos for each of these parts in some cases. In others, I'm just going to wrap them all up into one bundle. But here you have the the forward and the notes for the Castle Keeper. Again, this is all written specifically for Castles and Crusades. However, you can still port over any of these ideas into any fantasy RPG that you're using. So that's the great thing about settings, is that you can certainly strip them of all their game mechanics and just keep the names and the ideas and the themes, and the features of a world setting, and port them over into any system that you wish. So here we have it. So the part one is the introduction, the background and overview, the history of Yggsburgh, I'm sure somebody will come in and help correct me on saying how it's supposed to be said. So local Palatine nobles, the culture, and then it goes into population, social classes, dress style, appearances, and manner, common names in Yggsburgh, the coin of the realm, town revenues, the suburbs of the Yggsburgh, general architectural style, buildings, town arteries, the elites and administration, and then you have a listing of the types of, the Lord Mayor, the Council of Eight, orders of the knighthood of the Citadel, Knights of Yggsburgh, Levy of Yggsburgh, Levy of outlying areas, military and law office monthly pay, military uniforms, crime and punishment, geographical features, the Ashwood, Winchwood arrivals, and then we go into part two. So just looking at part one, you can see all of the different layers of world building taking place in here. And so it's this is not a very light endeavor that is being accomplished here in world building. This is really thinking about all of the different parts of what makes a culture, and so that's what's really interesting for me, to look at here as somebody who holds a master's degree in U.S. history, and basically just a bachelor's degree in general history or just history. To see as a social scientist this kind of framework being applied to a game resource is really quite impressive, and that's something about Gary Gygax's writing, which I've read his novels about game mastery and being mastering the art of role playing as a player. his academic language always impressed me, even though, he wasn't a social scientist and he had a real understanding of what makes a culture and how to create a fictitious society that actually makes sense. So really impressed with this. Part two then will go into places of import, and you can see there are encounter areas. There is administration and records. There are city halls and courts, and libraries and museums, and town mints and revenue offices, and street cleaning departments, sewer departments, water departments, workhouses, colleges and schools, common temples, outland temples, Fane and Covenant Temple. We go into all different types of, chapels and some public parks, then residences, Tower of the Stripped Mage. Um, just looking at several things that just jumped out. The 12 Celestial Houses, which is assassins. The Valued Secondhand Market, which are thieves. The Swordsman Brotherhood. Lords and Gentlemen's Club. The Cockrell Casino. The Dwarf Brewmeister's Tavern. So now we get into a number of different taverns that are going to, be points of interest here. And a cult shop, a tannery, curiosity shop. That's kind of interesting. Nickel and steel cutlery. Makes it sound like it's almost a, you can get all kinds of either weapons or just knives and cleavers and that kind of thing. It'll be interesting to dig into that. Then there's banks, there's loan banks, there's every conceivable thing that you would expect to find in a medieval setting, city, and then some. I mean, there's even more to this than you would, kind of surprising, like a haberdasher. It's like, then we'll get into part three and going over the environs. So this is talking about the geographic environs around the around Yggsburgh. Environmental encounters. So Castle Xagyg itself is not in this first volume, but based on the sales of this, they're going to release Castle Xagyg as well, which turns out to be like a mega dungeon all on its own. So really excited to see that when that comes through. And the announcement's already been made that based on the sales of this volume, that they have the go ahead from Gary Gygax's estate to release even more of his formerly published and even unpublished works. So you can see tons and tons of environments outside of the town itself and the city itself, going all the way through. And now we're already up to 192 plus pages of content. And then we go into the maps here. And then even the appendices at the end of the book have so much incredible detail in them, and very, very useful charts for you to use, random charts for you to use and everything. That's another whole element that this actually brings to the table. This is clearly a well-developed setting that, again, you can port this into any fantasy role-playing game system that you choose to, but it is written to ideally work with castles and crusades at this point. But again, very easily to translate back and forth. So we have some really good art that is on the inside of this. And let's see. So I'm not going to go into all of these details here in this video. This video is meant to be just an overview, an introduction to everything. I just wanted to give you a few little samples of of things. So here is a map. Let me see if I can rotate it. There we go. So here is a regional map of Yggsburgh and the East Mark, and so very, very easy for you to do a hex crawl. All right, and that's what really this is meant to be, is to allow you to do that kind of west marches, hex crawl type of adventuring, and you already have some of the detailed features that are already in here. You can see they're numbered, 26 and 38 and 49 and 2 and such. But also, you could add your own in as the players decide that they're going to start to adventure throughout the East Mark section of Yggsburgh. And then I'll flip this back again. So much incredible detail that it's a and it's a very fast read. Like you're really only looking for the key components that you're going to use at that time in that session and such, so you don't have to consume this entire 259 page book here. You can easily just pick out the elements that you think your players might encounter during that particular session, and you can see I'm just looking for things that really jump out to me. But I like the art. I like the way that the art is laid out here, and the future content is also going to include the art and the maps and everything that go along with it as well. So but you can see this is focused more so on just giving you relevant content to be used. See, these numberings are for, they're numbered on the map and such, so you will see all of these different things. That was actually in the city itself that it was pointing out to. Now we're getting into the environs of there. So here is here's the Thieves Underground, and so you can see the various underground passages of the Thieves Guild. And we're going to continue through. So you can see how much actual detail is going to be in this book, and just for your own, it's a nice size volume, as you can see. Really gorgeous book, and looking forward to spending a lot more time digging through each of these sections going forward. So I hope you like this video. Again, this is just an introduction, just going over the contents very, very briefly, and I will be coming out with videos on each individual section. Have a great day. Thanks for joining.